So as we mentioned already, intelligence, empathy, and critical thinking are the main cause of what we try to do here. So on the aspect of intelligence, let's try to understand why we worship, right? So I guess the discussion is, why do we fast? Is it because everyone else around you does it, or is it for another innate reason?
Okay, Bismillah. So the question is, why do we fast? And is it usually we just do it because everyone else is doing it around us, which is partly true. I think when we were little, we fast. The main reason why we fasted is to feel how the poor was, and we saw also like our parents and our extended family that are fasting as well. So that well, but I think growing up older, I believe the reason why we fast is to remember Allah, conscious of Allah, so taqwa. That's the main reason why. So because we are fasting, it's like spiritually cleansing ourselves inside of us, which is mostly the reason. I'll just say, to summarize, I'll say the main reason was taqwa, conscious of Allah. That's the main reason why we fast. Yeah, that's what I feel right now. That's the main thing. Yeah.
Sorry, just before you do, Niaz, you can jump in as well, inshallah. But Aman's gonna speak now.
Uh, you know what? Something that Arif mentioned is that, to be honest, if I'm being completely honest, yeah, even for myself, I never truly understood why we fasted till my recent like late teen years. Obviously when we grow up, we're told that it's to feel a level of empathy and compassion for those that have less, especially those that are deprived of the normal or not, sorry, not normal, of the blessings that we have, right? And that's a part of it, but it's a part of the wider scope. It's a part of the wider piece of the pie. The ultimate penultimate reason is so we can build taqwa. And just a little side point as well, I got confused with the concepts of taqwa and tawakkul. I thought they were kind of the same thing, although they probably, I think the best way to describe it is they stem from like the same tree but the different branches. So like just to keep on the surface level, taqwa is building that innate consciousness with Allah, and then tawakkul is to build that trust with Allah. So you can kind of see how it's kind of similar, but again, it's a bit different. So, yeah, I think we to be later in our life, we start to realize what is the true purpose of Ramadan. But I think the question is, what is taqwa? And inshallah, Irfan, if you could shed some light on what does it mean to have innate consciousness of Allah, and how can you do that?
Yeah, sure. Nah, I got a question thrown right back at me. Fair enough. I'll answer this question now. I'm gonna pass it on to Niaz, inshallah. But essentially, so alhamdulillah, it's actually great that you asked me this question because actually Aman and I had this conversation quite recently. I went to a talk by Sheikh Mustafa Briggs, and it was all to do with taqwa. And I think the most common thing we tend to hear is that when you're worshipping Allah or when you're living your day-to-day life, it should be as if you imagine that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you can see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not literally, but to some idea. And if you cannot see him, if you cannot imagine him or have some sort of vision of him, then remember that he is watching you. That is on the surface level is what taqwa is known as. But I think taqwa in general is all about, when we talk about this God conscious term, it's all about this aspect of living your life for Allah. All these intentions need to come back to Allah. There's so many levels and layers to intentions, right? It can be, let's say you want to start going running. We used this example last time in the Barakah effect, but let's say you want to start going to the gym. You can go to the gym because you want to get bigger muscles, right? You could also go to the gym because you want to get physically stronger. You can go to the gym because you want to potentially attract a wife. You could go to the gym because you want to become someone who's more dependable, someone who could protect people if something goes wrong. You could go to the gym to become someone who is able to, let's say, carry the shopping now for your parents, right? Now that's a next level, isn't it? But then if you keep building up, right, you can eventually get to the point where you're like, I want to go to the gym because I want to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, take care and sustain the body that I have, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided me with, and utilize this body to be something that can serve others. And now you've gone to that point where you're looking at something on a level of taqwa, right? Now you're actually someone who has taqwa. And there's other aspects as well. You can look at the character in terms of humility and other aspects. But just on a surface level, what is it and how what can we do to get there? That's kind of what I would say. But yeah, I think we're all on the general gist of it's to relate to taqwa. Niaz, can you hear me right now? Okay. I want to pass the mic to you. I'm just basically gonna put the mic for the next minute, inshallah. What are your thoughts on the aspects of why do we fast? Is it because everyone else around us does it, or is it because there's something more innate?
It's definitely not that, the first one. But I don't know, the reason why I fast, obviously, we've been obligated. What are you talking about, mandatory fast or like involuntary fast?
That's a good question. I guess we're relating this to Ramadan, so let's go with involuntary fast first, and then we'll touch on voluntary fast, inshallah.
Well, to be fair, some reasons why I might fast is to build discipline. It also gives you a clear head, so it allows you to focus on what's right. You know, when you're fasting, you're innately having that remembrance all day, so that ultimately leads you to doing things in mind of that remembrance. It also helps me, especially as a man and once an unmarried man, to have that self control. It doesn't just control you from. It doesn't just help you control yourself from your desires, but also control things like your tongue. It controls your anger sometimes, and everything that can have some sort of negative aspect on you. It can also help to remind us that that there are a lot of people that are less fortunate than us. So it helps you have a bit more of, let's say, a more inclusive view of others. It teaches you to be thankful as well.
Definitely.
And yeah, I think overall, just like it's like a reset, for involuntary. But then for what involuntary fasts, it's at the core, it's like just doing something purely because Allah commanded it. No questions, no loopholes. Um, yeah, that's the main reason why there's, what I think about involuntary fast. It's just purely about obedience.
Yeah.
Just because Allah commanded us to, there's no other way you can go around it, in my opinion.
Alhamdulillah, I think you covered that. I think you covered that very beautifully. You showed like the duality of the voluntary and involuntary, and you covered a lot of the aspects, especially with the aspects of we've been commanded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or we've been recommended by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that as men prior to getting married, it's an incredible thing to fast. I mean, as a way to be more conscious of Allah, and to also be able to physically get through the day as well, in the nicest way possible. Alhamdulillah. So some great insights. Does anyone else have any comments in regards to this aspect? Go on, Aman.
I just want to touch on points that you and Nia said.
Yep.
So when you were talking about the gym, right, giving the analogy, the example, and about how we have other intentions, but obviously the ultimate intention which should be for Allah, and same with what Niaz and you were talking about, how the other benefits that come forth, during Ramadan, during fasting in general. One thing is that, and I try to keep reminding myself of this, is that if we genuinely have the right intentions and we genuinely do things for the sake of Allah, which is quite a hard thing to do, I'm speaking from experience, because obviously the dunya has so much thoughts racing through our head, right? And we think that we want to do things for X and Y reason, but if we focus tunnel vision, tunnel focus, was it tunnel focus? Yeah, tunnel vision, yeah. If we have that tunnel vision, if we have that sole focus for doing it for Allah, then all the other intentions that we have will come forth. They will just automatically come rolling down. It's just part and parcel of it. Why wouldn't Allah, with the strength, of course, yes, we can serve our parents, or we're treating our bodies as the amana that Allah's given us. So of course we're gonna reap those other benefits as well. But it comes through having the foila. I'm just gonna speak of Bengali as well. That means first the foila and the main intention, which are doing it for Allah. So something I wanted to add.
Alhamdulillah. Arif, you want anything to say?
Nah, I'm good. Nah, it's greatly said.
No, yeah, come keep praising me, bro.
Greatly said from my man.
Thank you, thank you.
Nah, Alhamdulillah, Niyaz, he actually started it off just before you jumped on call. But yeah. I was gonna actually add something as well. There's something. There's actually like a great. That's first and foremost an incredible point. But there's actually something that Nia said that I really really liked, and it actually goes to a conversation my older brother and I had this morning, and we were talking about the fact that yes, actions are judged by intentions. You said that opening hadith, right? By Imam Nawawi and one of the 40 hadiths, right? And yes, it's so true, right? Actions are judged by intentions. But something that I think we all often forget is that there's a reward for the intention, but there's also a reward for the action or inaction. And what I mean by this is that sometimes if the intention isn't good, but you still do a good action or you still do a good inaction, right? You prevent yourself from doing something, right? You still get the reward of the action, right? It comes back to that point. So when Niaz is saying that the involuntary ones, we do them because we've been commanded to do them. That's not necessarily a wrong thing to say. That's not even, that's in fact that's like the first and foremost of it, right? It's a commandment by Allah. But then when we start, this is actually going to beautifully go into the second question. But when we start thinking about how can we layer this on, right? How can we develop it more? That's when we start focusing on the intention as well. So alhamdulillah, like the actions are very important, you know. As long as we're doing the actions, even if our intention isn't always clear, but we're getting consistent with it, whether it's the voluntary or the involuntary ones, what we're going to start to see is we become better people and better Muslims overall. And a beautiful example for this is istighfar, right? When you make the intention for istighfar and you do each one slowly, right? And you say astaghfirullah and you have the intention that, oh, okay, Allah, forgive me for this thing and reward me with this thing, then yes, of course, that's the next level of istighfar. But if you're just doing istighfar and you're just seeking general forgiveness, who's to say that's a bad thing? It's better than doing X, Y, Z or the other, right? So yeah, it actually beautifully tied into those things. So let's move on to point two, inshallah.